Breaker. On this episode of Midway Mass and Motors, Peanut gets a comms upgrade and a winch. I've got all kinds of parts to install. So we're gonna upgrade our comms. Here's my existing radio. We're gonna go ahead and do an external antenna. So I got all that has to go on. We got a winch to install in this bad boy and a brand new bumper. All going on there. So the first thing I gotta do is I gotta get the old bumper off, which should be easy. Hooks off both sides. And then there's a bolt underneath, there it is. And then we're also gonna take this cover off the plastic sway bar cover. There's 2 bolts on either side. That all comes off, and then we'll start putting on the other one. We're gonna go ahead and speed up the teardown. Let's not waste any time. There we go. Just like that, now we're ready to install the new bumper. That's gonna look really, really good. All right, so we got the bottom bumper on already. And now I'm gonna put the 2 bottom bolts in just to hold it while we're messing around with the winch and getting that set up. Maybe. Before mounting the winch plate, I gotta take the forward screws out of the sway bar mounts. And then we'll put the winch on the bracket and we'll see how it lines up. I might take the control box off. I'm afraid it's gonna block too much airflow. But we're gonna mount it up, see how it looks, and I'll make that call in a minute.
You are not listening.
Oof. That's gonna block a lot of airflow. I think I'm gonna have to relocate the control box. It still blocks a good bit of grill, but I can at least live with that. So we'll keep putting her together and see where we get. All right, let's bolt her up. Now it's time for the real challenge. Figuring out where under the hood I'm gonna fit that big thing. The other night I left myself a bit of an explosion on the bench. I got the winch installed and bolted on. Bumpers bolted on. But I still have to figure out where I'm gonna put the controller. Well, that is a big mamba jamba. That looks all right. So it rained last night. I think I'm actually gonna back the Jeep in. I'm gonna go ahead and start by mounting my exterior antenna for my communications. I decided to go with the Quadratech stainless steel bracket. And I'm gonna put this one on the driver's side because I think at some point I wanna put a CB antenna on the passenger side, and because of the ground plane, that would propagate my signal best, forward and towards the opposing lanes if I want to talk to truckers. And then for an antenna, I got a VHF UHF antenna that I'm gonna currently tie into my GMRS HT, but I'm studying for my ham, and I want the ability to talk both frequencies. So I'm gonna plan ahead. I've taken the back window out, side window, because I'm gonna be working inside here. And the first step, I gotta go ahead and get that taillight removed. This Quadratech bracket mounts right up behind the taillight using the existing taillight bolts. Then you just have to drill a 1/4-inch hole through the tub and clean the metal on the backside, and it provides a bolt so that you can ground the plate to the body of the Jeep. I've gone ahead and partially removed the inner wheel well because we have to drill a hole right up there. And I'm gonna have to sand it down and make some clean metal for grounding. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill my hole. My antenna mount is already bolted on there so that I know my hole will line up. So now it's nothing more than putting a nice hole in my good clean body. Ain't nothing to it. That should be clean enough for a sufficient ground. Now I'll put the bolt through it, tighten it down, and then cover it with some spray paint so my body doesn't start rusting up there. That was a heck of a spot to reach. To test it, I've got a clamp on the door latch. And I'll take my multimeter and ohm it out. So we've got 0.5 ohms to the body. I would say that this is properly grounded to the tub. I'm gonna go ahead and spray paint and figure out the routing of my coax. Paint it black and hit the track. All right, I got the wire routed, came out that hole up to the tub, and then I use the existing through body grommet right there, which I gotta be honest, was a lot easier said than done working in this tight little compartment. So now I'm gonna go ahead and run the coax all the way forward and figure out somewhere in here to terminate it. I've got my NMO connector tightened down on my bracket. And just to prove that everything works, once again, I'm connected to the body. I'll put this on ohms. And ground the coax. Look at that. 1/2 an ohm. That should work just beautifully. I ran the cable, again, it came up through the tub there. And then there's an existing harness that runs under this rail. So I zip tied it to that, up under here, up into the dash and across. Now, I just hacked this and I pulled it out right through here, down. I just shoved a whole bunch up under there for now because I don't know where I'm gonna final put it. And then I just got some wire, the coax coming out to my Radiality GMRS radio at the moment. Again, it's a hack job for where I'm final putting it, but I'll figure that out at a later date. As you can see, I got my buddy Charlie helping me out running wires tonight. And as soon as my antenna shows up, I'll go ahead and put it on and test it out. So I guess I'll get back to figuring out where I'm gonna put the control box for the winch. What do you think, Chuck?
Yep.
Yeah. I solved the control box mounting problem. I decided I was gonna go with a 9500 instead of the Apex 12,000. It's smaller. There's just no room in here to mount anything extra. And I don't want to mount it under the frame. I like to keep it high and dry. So I went ahead, I bought the 9500. I stripped off the steel cable and I'm gonna put on the synthetic line. Everything's all bolted back up, torqued down. I've got the cables run inside the Jeep. I might wrap these. I don't know if I like them being exposed. And now I just gotta terminate them to the battery and we're gonna have a working winch. One other thing that I had gotten when I made the swap is I went with a wireless remote for this winch. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook it in, hook it here. I'll just stick it through here somewhere and zip tie it inside. And then we're gonna go put some tension on my line. cool. I have Peanut strapped up to a tree in my front yard, and currently tensioning the winch. I got the parking brake set just a little bit, put a little drag on it, so I can keep some tension. And just like that, Peanut is now one step closer to being ready to go off-road. I think she's set. We're gonna have a video coming out soon of the first time going out with it. So if you like what you watch, like, share, subscribe. Hopefully there'll be more coming out. In the meantime, I got a mess to clean up.